Rise and shine, it's Sunday. A brand new Daily Tech Update is heading your way, but don't touch that screen. A listener question is coming up. There's another story out this week about your health and the use of smartphones, but this one looks more like a headline-grabbing scare tactic than a genuine health threat. I'll let you decide. I'm Kim Komando for Incogni. Stop robocalls, spam text, junk email, and remove yourself from the internet. Get 60% off today at privacykim.com. Okay, here's that headline. Regular use of mobile phones linked to heart attack disease risk. Let that sink in. Are they warning about radiation from cell phones possibly damage your cardiac muscle? Nope. This story originates in China. It claims that there's a 10% increase in heart disease for heavy cell phone users. Now, I'm not a researcher or a doctor, but it sounds to me like this increased risk, if it is one at all, is more related to lack of exercise, stress, and lifestyle. That same study also found that smartphone users who smoke have a greater even cardiovascular risk too. Well, duh. Thanks, China, but I think we have this one covered. Enter to win a brand new iPhone 16 right now at winfromkim.com.
Hey, have you heard about The Current? It's this amazing free tech newsletter that keeps you in the loop about everything: AI, making money, and insider tips to get ahead at work and life. Everything is tech now. I can't afford to fall behind, and neither can you. In just 5 minutes a day, that's it. The Current makes it so easy to stay ahead without feeling overwhelmed. Join 500,000 people at getthecurrent.com. It's free. Don't be left behind. That's getthecurrent.com. Sign up now. Getthecurrent.com.
All right, let's open up that Commando mail vault and see what questions you've got for me. Chev in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hey there, Chev.
I got a great story I would like to share with you, kind of lift things up a little bit here. And it has to do with something I read in The Current a couple of days ago. You had a tip on how to find your old home where you grew up by going to Google.
Right.
Or the Google Maps, rather. And I wanted to share a story. A couple of years ago, this past summer, my mom died. And the following fall, my dad and I were just kind of sitting there one day, and I was on Google Maps looking up something. And I turned to my dad and I said, "Do you remember the old address of the first home where I was kind of raised, and that's where I was born?" It was a very, very small town outside of Rochester, Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And he goes, "I don't really remember the address." And I said, "Well, do you think we could find it?" And I went to the little town. It's called Viola. Mm-hmm. And I went to it, and I Googled it, and I kept blowing it up. And I said, "Boy, it's not very big. It's literally like 50 or 60 people live in this little town." And I started trying to find a place that he would remember. And he said, "Well, we lived very close to the general store there." And I'm looking, and I'm like, "Okay, I think I found the general store." So let me tell you, this is not a general store like you would think a general store now. This is an old-fashioned general store, 60 years ago.
Wow.
So I said, "Well, let me do this." So I got on the little man function, as I like to call it. I got the little man, and I went to the street view, and I started looking around. I said, "Does any of this look familiar?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, that's the old general store right there." He goes, "Okay, we're just up this road." So I walked down the road with him and everything, and we're looking around. He goes, "There's the house right there." And he was able to spot the house. And it was really moving for me because I've never been back. We moved when I was 2 or 3 years old. And so I really don't have a lot of memories of there other than a lot of snow. And so it was kind of neat. And
what a great thing for you guys to do together after your mom passed away.
Yes, but here's where it got even better, because we got to talk and he started sharing memories of those times and everything. And his best friend from when he worked there in Rochester at IBM, he and his wife still live there. His best friend happens to also be my godfather. And they have not connected in decades.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they've shared Christmas cards and whatnot, but haven't seen each other in decades. And I said, "You know what, Dad?" I said, "We should go up there next summer for just a trip. Let's go up there to do that." So he connected with his friend, told him we were coming up there. And last summer, we drove up to Rochester and reconnected with them. And it was like we had just seen him last week.
Oh.
I mean, and it was so neat to spend all that time with him and hear all these stories. We parked in the middle. We went to the little town in Viola, and we drove out there and parked, and we walked all around and actually found the house that I grew up in.
How fabulous is that? And it all started just sitting around, messing around with Google Maps. You know, it's a wonderful thing about technology, and that we're able to go back and experience and to look things. I mean, when I looked up 111 Washington Avenue, South Amboy, New Jersey, 08879. I mean, I still remember that address, right? Is that, you know, all of a sudden I was like, gosh, how many times, you know, did I wear my Easter outfit, you know, standing on that front porch, or riding my bike and fighting with my brother because he farted on my face. He did once. It was so gross. I still can't forgive him for that to this day. You know, or, you know, my sisters and my grandmother coming from Russia and, you know, staying with us for summers at a time, or just riding my bike for hours and hours and hours and coming home, and my mom saying, you know, did you have fun today? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm starving. I haven't been home since 8 and it's like 4 p.m. I mean, or the time that I made a snowball and I threw it at a cop car, not knowing that the policeman had the window down, and hit him right on the side of his face. And then I ran, and of course he hunted me down and brought me directly home to my mother. It was like, Kimberly, I always knew I was in trouble. Kimberly, it wasn't Kimberly, it was Kimberly. That was bad. It was bad. Hey, listen, we talked about the current. If you're not getting my free newsletter, this type of stuff we pass along every single day, you can sign up right now over at getkim.com. Sheb, thanks again for telling us a great story. And I know that more people than ever are going to be like, you know what? I'm going to do that too. Yes, look down that memory lane. Hats off to you for listening. Now, if you have a tech question that has you stumped, I've got your back. Zip over to komando.com and tap that email Kim link. Your notes, I read them all like they're just the tech gospel. And you can get Tech Smart every single day with my free newsletter. It's up for grabs over at getkim.com. That's getkim.com.